This conference will now be recorded.
Hi, hello all. Welcome to the next session on SAP ABAP. And till now, we have discussed some of the concepts like in ABAP. And so maybe we have seen R3 foundation and dictionary concepts. Maybe some of the concepts are left in the dictionary. And I will combine 3 batches and that I am going to cover. Okay, the views and maybe buffering and search help and lock objects. 4 concepts are left for everybody, I hope. Okay, and that we will see. And also the in the maybe in the enhancements for you. Okay, it's and also yeah, this for your batch I need to cover this reporting concepts. And the main batch we have covered the object oriented ABAP, and the smart forms is left, and that we will see in the Saturday Sundays, guys. Okay, I'm introducing one more trainer for the smart forms. Okay, so he is going to cover the smart forms. His name is Kiran. So next Saturday Sunday he is going to cover the smart forms. Okay, so it's a simple concept. Okay, and also we have the next interesting concept is the OData, guys. Nowadays every interview they are asking the OData, very important. So in the interview point of view, okay, so if you want to crack the interviews, very important is the OData. Every interview, so without OData there is no interview at all nowadays. Okay, that's why I'm going to more concentrate. And also SAP going towards the not classical GUIs, guys. SAP going towards the SAP, most of the business users want to access the SAP applications by using UI. So there are new introductions into the SAP. So if you want to expose the data over the internet or intranet, so we need to have one concept. The concept is called, it's an OData concept, guys. It's an OData stands for, it's an open data protocol. Okay, with the OData only we can expose the data to the internet UIs. Suppose if you want to open your SAP, so the reporting everything if you want to do, so definitely we need to send the data by using interface called OData, open data protocol. Maybe so you might know, right? So what exactly the internet architecture? Maybe first I will like to introduce the internet architecture, then I will go with the SAP architecture. First we'll understand the architecture. So why we need to use the OData, and what exactly the OData architecture, and what is the SAP architecture, how the SAP architecture will use the OData architecture, guys. Maybe this is my browser. So this browser I can say it's my client, guys. So client, and if you want to access any UI5 applications, so maybe from the desktop or mobile or tablet. Okay, so first you need to go to the browser. Any, suppose if you want to access Gmail application, definitely you need to go to the browser, then only you can access the UI applications. So this is my browser. So I can access my SAP UI applications by using desktop or mobile or tablet. Some people are missing, two people who, so where is the Rajesh? Okay, so this is my browser. So maybe whenever you type www.gmail.com, what will happen? So whenever you type www gmail, just I am taking one internet application. So whenever you type this, what will happen normally? Huh? Yeah, it goes to the server. So it goes to the server. So through what it goes, through what it goes, huh? How the your request goes, huh? Yeah, it's an HTTP protocol. So you know, right? ISP, it's an internet service providers, very important, guys. So because, so if you want to understand the concept, you should know what exactly happening. Okay, maybe so I can access not only SAP, maybe in the world I have a number of computers, guys. So www means it's a world wide web, right? So what is world wide web? So connecting the computers. So throughout the world, we are going to call it a www, and worldwide web. And we have different kind of computers like this. Maybe it's my computer 1 and C1, and like this I can have different computers in the world. Control C, Control V. Like this, I can have different computers, and every application is designed with some of the programming languages, right? So the programming languages can be so different. We have different C or C++ and Java or Java script. Okay, maybe Python. Okay, like this we have the ABAP, also one of the programming language, and also for every application there will be in a database, and this is my database case. This is my database. So whenever you type this underline application programming language, this is my server level. This combination I can call it's in a server, and this combination I can call it's in a server, guys. The combination, the both database as well as uh, the programming layer, both I can call it's in a one server. It's in a client, it's in a server. So most of the industry follows the client server architecture. So it's in a client server architecture. So here the combination is it's a name server, it's a client. See, so if I have one server, so maybe I can enable a number of users. Gmail, how many users we have in the world? Millions of users, billions of users. Everybody will have the Gmail, not only one account. Maybe you can have multiple accounts as well. So billions of users we have. With the client server architecture, we can enable the a number of users can connect to that server, guys. So this is not normally internet architecture. Maybe so whenever you send, so this is my request, guys. And also this architecture we also call a request and response architecture. So even we are going to send, maybe the Java people knows this, and whenever you type it sends in a request, and whenever you get in a response, and whenever you send the request, you are going to get in a response back to the your browser. So even we call this as a request response architecture, guys. So client server architecture, or it's a request and a response architecture. So you are going to get response from the other systems, guys. Maybe here, so let's assume I have an SAP server. Okay, so this is normally it's an internet architecture, but I am introducing the SAP server now, guys. And go to the next slide, and maybe I have a browser, and browser, so all the browsers are built up with some standards and guidelines, guys. Can anybody tell? So any browser, if you want to build any browser, whether it is a Google Chrome, or whether it is an Internet Explorer, or Safari, or Mozilla Firefox, or Opera, or any browser, if you want to build new browser, and you every company has to follow some standards. What are all those standards? Can anybody tell? So uh, tell me. So in your engineering studies, computer students, definitely you should know this. So if you want to build, if you want to build, okay, so you need to follow w3schools.com. So there are standards set by w3 a company, w3schools.com. So they set the standards and guidelines. So you need to build your browsers with the w3schools.com, and those standards are every browsers are built up with HTML and CSS and Java script and jQuery, guys. So these are all the four standards you need to follow. Even everything. So even uh, these are all the standards you need to follow. These are all the open sources. HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and jQuery are the open sources, and browsers are built up with these three or four languages. And it's in a markup language, it's in a cascading style sheets, or the cosmetic purpose screen cosmetic, and JavaScript is the programming language. In inbuilt programming language which will run, which will execute in the browser side, guys. So that's in a JavaScript, and also we have in a jQuery, guys. So this is the browser, and so here my object is in a JavaScript object. So if you want to send any data or if you want to consume the data from external sources, definitely I should be having in a JavaScript JSON format. So JSON is the format. So JavaScript understand the JSON format, guys. And I have a server here, and this is my SAP server. So SAP, you know, right? So we have presentation layer. Yeah, we have a presentation layer. I will come back later, and I have a here ABAP layer. Maybe I can say it's an ABAP, and also I have the database behind this. Maybe this database can be an Oracle. And don't think, guys, our data works only in the HANA system, but it works in all the database. It supports and Oracle and IBM, DB6, and also MS SQL, or it can be in a HANA. This is my database. And this is my ABAP layer. ABAP layer. So you know the ABAP layer. ABAP also will have the ABAP objects. We have an ABAP objects. Suppose if I want to provide an integration between the UI to my ABAP layer. See, this is my integration. So if I want to transfer the data from the browser to the ABAP and ABAP to the browser, and so ABAP objects doesn't understand the JavaScript, and JavaScript objects, SAP doesn't understand the JavaScript objects, and ABAP doesn't understand the JavaScript objects, guys. So what we need to have, so these two are not friends. These two are not friends. The browser works with the JSON format with the JavaScript objects, and ABAP layer works with the ABAP objects. And if I want to transfer the ABAP objects to the front end browser, or from the browser, if I want to take the data from the browser to the SAP, and we need to have some communication here, and another one is the JSON, guys. So this is a standard. If you want to build any new programming language, you need to follow some standards and guidelines. So the guidelines are, every system or every programming language has a compatible with the XML and JSON format. So if I send some Excel, so there should be a concept. So with that concept, I should able to take the data. So every language should has to some guidelines. So XML data and JSON data, the programming languages has to understand, guys. So this is my XML and JSON as a communication medium, and with this we are going to transfer the data from one server or one client to the servers. Maybe I can say this is my client, this is my server, guys. And to understand the XML and JSON format, and SAP has come up with a new feature called OData feature, guys. Before we have the SOAP services, even SOAP, see, in the interfaces concept, maybe you are not aware, I told some SOAP services are interfaces are format is very good in terms of the performance point of view, but SAP supports both. OData supports both XML as well as the JSON format. And this is the normal, the architecture, and how this architecture comes, how the OData architecture comes is, and actually the OData architecture is introduced by, actually there is a REST, guys. So REST means it's a representational state transfer. So REST stands for representational state transfer, and which is introduced by this model was introduced by Oasis, and later it is acquired by Microsoft. It's a Microsoft technology, guys. REST programming is now with the Microsoft company. Okay. So what exactly the representational state transfer? So maybe what exactly the representational state transfer is? Here I have an uh, Java script object. Always I talk about JavaScript only client, because every browser is built up with the HTML and CSS and JavaScript and jQuery. So JavaScript object, and this is my client side. This is my client side. Client means it's in a browser, guys. Client side is in a browser, and this side I have my ABAP objects. ABAP objects. Okay. So tell me what are the ABAP objects we have. Let's give example ABAP. What are the ABAP objects? What is ABAP object? What is the ABAP objects? What is the ABAP objects? What is object? Object orientation. We have it's an instantiation of the class, right? It's an instantiation of the class, and so example is sales order is an one object, and purchase order is an object, and customer is an object, and product is an object, guys. See the data. So if you want to transfer sales order, I need to have an object. So the object transfer, I can do the object transfers, guys. So if you want to, the state is the representational state transfer. So here the object is in a state, one of the state. So those objects I can transfer across the clients, guys. So this is my representational state transfer. I can create an object. That object I can send it to the front end. So it's a representational state transfer by using an XML or an JSON format. So you know, right, what is XML and JSON? XML is an extended markup language, and JSON is the JavaScript object notation. So JSON stands for, it's a JavaScript object notation. We'll see how exactly we can build the JSON. Very important nowadays. So JavaScript object notation, and XML stands for extensive markup language, extended markup language. So this is the with the two we can do. And maybe suppose if I transfer the data from ABAP to the JavaScript, so what I can do is I can render the data. So from here, suppose if you transfer the data, that concept we are going to call it's rendering, guys. We call it in a rendering. Render the ABAP data internally, where you will be having normally the data in the ABAP internal table. Suppose if you want to send the data, internal table data, you need to render it to the JSON format, or you should render it to the XML, and you need to send it to the JavaScript object notation format or JavaScript understandable format. JavaScript understand both the things, JSON and as well as XML. And suppose if you want to receive the data from JavaScript, and what this concept will do is the middleware concept, it will parse the data. It will parse the data and it will send it to the ABAP objects. So the JavaScript object will be parsed into your ABAP object, and the parsed the data will be comes into the your ABAP layer, guys. This is the way of doing the parsing and rendering the data from client to the server and server to the client. And if you want to render, if you want to parse, you need to do some protocols, guys. So the protocol is the one of the protocol we have is the Odata protocol. So Odata protocol. So what exactly the Odata? So what is the concept of the Odata? First of all, So the concept of the OData is simple. So just exposing the data over the internet or intranet. Simple guys. Simple definition. Exposing the data over the intranet or internet, we call its name. The purpose of the OData is just to expose the data from internet or intranet. So internet or intranet, and it is a REST implementation. It uses the REST implementation. OData uses the RESTful implementation, and so it is the HTTP protocol, guys. It's an HTTP protocol, and HTTP uses the crude methods. HTTP uses the crude methods. What are the crude methods we have? Suppose, yeah, create here is the post, guys. Post means it's a create method. So exact crude means C. Create means it's a technical term is the in HTTP point of view, it's a post method. Sorry, in HTTP point of view, it's in a create, but in the OData point of view, it's in a post method, guys. Next, get method. If you want to get the data, we are going to use the get method. Okay, so I'm talking in terms of the server point of view, guys. So you are posting from the internet, then it's in a create. So the data from, suppose in the internet side you have, if you want to receive the data, get method. Okay, let's assume we have in a Gmail. So whenever you do the sign up, so what you are doing, you are going to store your user credential, your user data, and the password details on the database. It's in a post method actually. So the data is coming from the data will be stored on the Gmail Google server, right? It's in a post. And sign in, what you are doing, you are getting the data. You are, when you do the login, when you do the details, right? You are getting details, draft mails. You are getting the data from the server. So it's in a get method, guys. So that's the difference. The post method is if you want to save the data in the database, it's in a post method or create method. If you want to get the data from the database, it's in a get method. And also we can do the modifications as well. Put method, there is one more method, and also merge method. Okay, and also guys, sometimes we will delete the so I would like to delete an email. So click on email, select checkbox, delete. You are going to do any delete operations on the database level, guys. These methods we are going to do in the by using OData services. OData offers the post, get, put, and merge and delete operations, guys. So this get is the read operation, guys. I can say it's a read operation. Crude, see, read operation. Read and R uh, you update is the put is the update, and D is the delete. So this is the D, guys. It's in a crude operations. Okay, OData offers the crude operations, guys. So that's the name OData concept, guys. But if you want to implement the OData concept and how the SAP offers, what exactly the SAP architecture, and with the new architecture, RESTful architecture, we call now my architecture, I'm introducing SAP RESTful architecture. Okay, SAP RESTful architecture, RESTful programming architecture, RESTful programming. So SAP S4HANA follows the SAP RESTful programming architecture, guys. So SAP S4HANA, the RESTful programming offers architecture. What a architecture. Sorry, architecture. Yeah. Okay. Architecture. Yeah, merge is also comes into the update part. So this is my, I'm going to introduce new architecture now. Already you know what exactly the architecture, and we have a presentation layer, right? So normally till now what we have used as a presentation SAP GUI, right? And also we have an application layer, and we have a database layer. We have a database layer. This is my database layer, right? And maybe the database layer, guys. So what SAP did is SAP installed a component on top of this. Okay, on top of application layer, SAP installed a SAP GUI, sorry, SAP Gateway Foundation, guys. SAP Gateway Foundation. So, so this SAP Gateway Foundation provides, okay, it is the implementation of the OData framework, guys. SAP introduced the OData framework by introducing a one server called SAP Gateway Foundation. So this is installed on top of our application layer. So this SAP Gateway Foundation, with this we can implement OData services. We can implement the OData services with this SAP Gateway Foundation, guys. So how do I know? Suppose in your system, if you join one company, so whether my system is capable to implement the OData services or not. So how do you know it? So if you want to know, maybe I can go to the and guys, my our lab server now the coming to the thing. If you want to do the OData services, so our lab server doesn't work because it's not a internet facing server. So now the comes to the thing is you need to take the server access S4 HANA server I am introducing. From now, if you want to implement the OData services, you have to use the S4 HANA server. And please form a group 4 people and take the server access. It is the so now I am the single user, its cost is 2500. But if I take 3 users, they will give for the 2000 rupees. Okay, 4 users and put 500 rupees. And even for the next subsequent concept ABAP on HANA also, you need to have an S4 HANA server. For that also you need to have the server, because don't think about money, guys, because it's in a brand new system, it's in a real system, very interested system. And 500 rupees doesn't matter. You are working on the S4 HANA server, guys. Okay, so this is my server, and go to my server. Hmm, what happened? So maybe see, this is, suppose if you want to see the server details, what you need to do, system and status. It's our lab server. This I am going to show. So maybe here MS SQL is my database. And if you want to see the ABAP layer, so you need to go to the product version, guys. So go to the product version, and here you can see it's my 7. ABAP version is the 7.4. And you can see, guys, there is a component SAP GWFND. If you see this, that means you can work with the OData services. But our server is not a internet facing server. That's why we cannot do the OData services, guys. And if it is integrated with the internet communication framework, then we can do it. But we do not have that. So we can build, but my server is not in on the internet facing. So this component, if you see this component, so it is compatible. It is compatible with OData framework. In your company, if you see this, yes, we can do the OData services in your server, guys. That's the name, SAP underscore GW FND is the component. So you can see over here, guys. And I'm closing this. I don't want this server slash and ex. Go to the S4 HANA server. So ST HANA 19. This is the system and status. And see guys, and here the server is, the database is HDB. It's an HANA database. And go and see, this is the product version, and see here, and you can see it's in a 7.53 guys, very latest version. ABAP layer is the 7.53, and see SAP GWFND also 7.53 guys. And also if you see S4 core, that means it's an S4 HANA system. It's an S4 HANA system guys. S4 core is the component. So here you can see this is my server, and sorry, this is my server guys. So this component should be installed on top of your application layer, and this scenario we are going to call it's an embedded scenario guys. So if the architecture, if the, if your gateway foundation installed on top of your ABAP layer, and this architecture we are going to call, this scenario we are going to call it's an embedded scenario. This is my embedded scenario guys. Because they use these terms guys, is it embedded or another term is there, but you don't know, it will be a problem. That means you don't know the architecture of the OData. That's why I'm using these terms. It's an embedded scenario. If your gateway foundation installed on top of your application layer, maybe I can give the definition as well, because people are forgetting these kind of things when I ask the question. So when SAP gateway foundation installed on top of ABAP layer, so that we call it's an embedded scenario. So here, when SAP introduce the OData framework, then we can access directly our SAP applications from the browsers guys, from the browser. So what I can do is, this OData framework will able to take the data from the browser. See, before, still it is there, the GUI is there, but parallelly if you want to access the data, even I can get the request from the browser, and from browser I can take the data, I can connect to the database, and this is my request, and my response from the database, I will give the response back to my ABAP layer or gateway foundation, and I'm going to send that response back to the UI layer guys, the browser layer. This is the integration. See, this is my request and this is my response guys. This is a request response architecture, and also this is a client to server architecture guys. This is the name OData framework with embedded scenario guys. And we have different scenarios as well. Suppose if your company is not in S4 HANA, S4 HANA almost it's an embedded scenario guys. It's all your company architectural decision. So sometimes the people will use like this also. So I have an APL presentation layer, and don't confuse, and control C, no, sorry, control G. So this is my database. Normally, this is my SAP R3 architecture, and even I have the same kind of architecture guys. So this, the, if the gateway foundation installed in another server, even we have another server as well guys. For the gateway foundation we can install separate system. Okay, so if your gateway system installed in different server, and maybe I can build the OData services in the different server, and but how do you connect? Suppose if I want to get the data from the SAP, so this is also SAP system, this is also SAP system. So the best way to connect from two SAP servers, what is the approach guys? Huh? Pasha batch. So the best way to approach to SAP server, what is the best approach? So the best way to connect two SAP servers, what is the best approach? Huh? the best way to connect to SAP. This is also SAP Gateway Foundation. This is also SAP. This is also SAP. Huh? What is that here? First one is from the external system here. So first one is from the external system. The best way is the RFC interfaces I talked about lot. So what we will do is, so there isn't a different server for the Gateway Foundation SAP. There isn't a different server for the SAP. So if you are Gateway Foundation on top of different system, this scenario we are going to call it's a central hub scenario, guys. Central hub scenario. So they will ask this, if it is in a central hub scenario, how do you connect from one system to another system? You need to tell, we will use the RFC to connect from the Gateway Foundation to the your SAP server, guys. If the SAP gateway foundation installed on the different server altogether, so we call this is a central hub scenario. Okay, so together different server altogether, then we call this in a central hub scenario, but we use RFC to connect SAP and gateway server. Okay, we use the RFC. We use the RFC, guys, to connect these two servers. We are going to use the RFC RFC destination with the two servers. Okay, this is the embedded scenario. Embedded means your gateway server installed on top of your own on top of your ABAP layer. So that we call it's an embedded scenario, guys. I do not have a central hub scenario. So we are using the embedded scenario. Suppose if they ask, so I worked on the embedded scenario. That's it. Just you escape. I didn't work on the central hub scenario. You can directly straightforward. You can tell it. So you are working on S4HANA inbuilt. We have a gateway foundation. We have an inbuilt gateway foundation. I am working on an embedded scenario. Don't tell the central hub scenario, guys. Okay, this is the OData framework and OData architecture, guys. OData architecture. Okay, so now if you want to implement the OData services, and you need to have, so how you are going to implement the OData services in the SAP, and that we are going to see. And whenever you implement a OData services, so to implement OData services, to implement OData services, why we need to have an OData services, guys? So tell me why we need to have an OData services. Simple. Tell me. Simple. Internet. Okay, connectivity from the internet. From internet, what operations you are going to do? Yeah, everywhere. If you just apply on the any website, if you access, what you are going to do? Any site. Tell me in Amazon what you are doing. Daily you are using Amazon, right? So you are searching for the product. That means it is getting the product data from the server. So Amazon definitely, so they will not store the on the web browser, guys. Web browser is in a very lightweight application. Otherwise, suppose your image is little bit high memory, it doesn't load your page, guys. So very browser runs on a very lightweight application. So browser doesn't store any data. So just browser is used to display the data, browser is used to post the data, browser is used to do some actions. That's it. You will not do anything. Just screen Yeah, so it provides a service implementation. Whenever you implement OData service, it provides service implementation, and also it provides runtime artifact and service maintenance. Runtime artifacts, artifacts, and service maintenance. Maintenance. Okay. So what exactly the data model? Data model provides the provides the uh, required data um, required uh, prototypes for the data and data objects. Okay, the prototypes and data objects are, we have here entity set is the one object, and another one is the entity type, guys. Very, very important. Definitely there is a question, what exactly the entity type and what exactly the entity set, guys. Simple. Just imagine our ABAP objects. Okay, you have a structure, you have an internal table, you have a types, you have an internal table, right? So suppose if I want to store the data, what you need to have, whether internal table stores the data, right? And if you want to create an internal table, you need to have a reference, right? The reference can be a table, the reference can be a structure, the reference can be a table type, the reference can be a types. Same here, entity type as a no, it's a reference. Simple, guys. It's a reference to the entity set. Simple. It's a reference to the entity set, guys. Entity set, and it is used. It is used to provide service document, guys. Not service document. Metadata. Metadata for the application. So this is used to provide the metadata for your application. Okay, that's an entity type, guys. And entity set is, it's a name, uh, uh, it's a name, uh, representation of business entity. It's a representation of the business entity, guys. So it is used to do the crude operations. So the main thing, the entity set we are going to use for the crude operation. If you want to do any crude operation, we are going to use the entity set, not the entity type. So entity type is used only for the reference purpose. It is used for the reference to the entity set, and it is used to provide the metadata of forever. We'll see what exactly the metadata and what exactly the entity set. And also it stores the, it is used to store the values, and we can perform crude operations by using entity set, guys. Not with the entity type, we are going to use by using entity set. We are going to do a crude operations. You know, right, what exactly the crude operations? Create means post and get and merge, put and delete is the comes under the crude operations. And it provides, whenever whenever we call the entity sets, it generates a service document. It generates in a service document, guys. Whenever you create a entity set, whenever you call a entity set, it generates in a service document, and service document contains all the metadata metadata of the application. Okay, so this is all about theory, guys, of the OData services, and now we'll move to the practical, very important. Okay, so now we are going to move into the practical. So maybe I'm going to implement simple and see, data model contains entity types and entity sets. We'll see the associations later. First, I am going to build in a reference structure, guys. So one for the sales I am going to build. So maybe we'll use the sales. uh, Go and create the entity type and create the entity type. My entity type name is maybe one is the uh, get header, guys. Get header. So always I use the upper camel case, guys. Whenever you JavaScript follows the upper camel case or lower camel case, guys. So always the first letter G and header, I follow the upper camel case for the OData services. Okay, because I am going to use the always I'm going to use with the JSON format, JavaScript object notation format. We'll see, we'll explain the JavaScript object notation format as well, and not now, and maybe after whenever it comes that time I'm going to talk JavaScript object notation format. And here, guys, whenever you create an entity type, and immediately you can create the entity set as well. See, if you check the select checkbox, you can create the entity set as well. So it's get header entity type, and in the end it is added as a set, but it's with the upper camel case. See, SAP follows the upper camel case. Set also comes with the capital SET, and okay, that's it. So one entity type is created, guys, and save it and create, and it's in a transport for OData. Okay, and save it. So this is in a global system. Maybe some other also will see our objects. So this is a uh, entity set, and if you want to add fields, you need to go to the properties, and here you can add your own properties, guys. Maybe add the properties, and my first field is the VBELN, and VBELN in the, it's a key field, guys, very important. So you must have a key field in the whenever you define a entity type, so otherwise it doesn't accept. And EDM type is the, so maybe you can take EDM string. So here there are OData data types, guys. These are all the not your ABAP data types. It's an OData data types, and you need to select the EDM string. So this is my string, guys. So there are different kind of data types. You can see decimal. If it is in a price, you need to use the decimal. If it is in a date, and you need to see time, yeah, date time, and you need to, if it is an only time, you need to use the time, guys, and EDM string. And also you can see the integers and GUIDs. Okay, binary format. If it is in a if you want to upload file from the browser, we are going to use the binary format. So different kind of, maybe I'm using the EDM string now. And so how many maximum, how much maximum length you can provide for this? Maybe what I will do, I can define my ABAP data types as well, guys. VBELN underscore VA. So what happens if I take the ABAP data types? We'll see VBELN underscore VA. Also we can take it. That's it. And maximum for this is the 10, guys. 10 is my data type. Save it. And with this, guys, with this I can, first I can create the data, I can update the data. Can you update the key field? Can you update the key field? No, you should not select update. And if you want to sort, you can sort it. And can you null the key field? No. Can you filter? Yes, I can filter it, guys. So this entity types, I'm going to provide a metadata. See, so I will tell to the external system, if I send this payload to the external system, they know it. So with this I can create the data, I can sort the data, I can filter the data. So they can imagine by seeing this data, by seeing these properties, they will come to know, yes, we can do this kind of operations by using this field, guys, and save. And maybe if you want to add the data, so it will append the row and it will insert the row. So which one you take, guys? Append or insert? Tell me basic fundamentals. Append will add in the last, right? If you insert, you will get, it will come down. So always use the append, guys. So the basic fundamentals are important. And VBLN AUART order type is not a key field, and string EDM string and AUART it's an ABAP data type also. I can use it and save. And maybe I can take I can append maybe VKO RG and take the EDM string and VKO RG and save. And maybe append and VT WEZ and EDM string and VT WEZ. We'll take only some fields, guys, for the basic purpose. So just we'll talk about this. And SPART and EDM string, guys. EDM, where is that? EDM string and SPL. Simple things I have taken, save it. Okay, so I created an entity type. So now, and also automatically I have selected the checkbox. That's why it creates an entity set. Okay, save it. And now after you save it, what you need to do is, so just I have defined the entity type and entity set, and then you need to generate the runtime objects, guys. So you need to click on the runtime objects. Now you see, whenever I generate, see, guys, very important. So there is a question, whenever you generate a OData service, what will happen? So this is the question. Even I am giving the questions as well. So whenever you generate, so OData is simple, guys. Don't think it's a complicate. Very simple. So it's very easy to implement. OData is very easy to implement, guys. Most of the people fear, so don't fear it. Okay, whenever you generate OData services, okay, first it will create 4 classes, guys. It will create the 4 classes. Okay, it will create 4 classes. Okay, so see here, model provider class, 2 classes. See, the base class name is this and the extension class is this. I will tell what is the use of the extension. So for the model provider class, it create 4 classes, 2 model provider classes. In that, two, maybe I will write 2 model provider classes. So shortcut is, they may call MPC as well, guys. MPC stands for model provider class. So in that, one is the base class. See the naming convention also, guys. Base class. See, GCL, then this is my project name and MPC. This is my project GEDG6 sales data. GEDG6 sales data. This is my project name. First it class GCL underscore, and maybe the naming convention is like this: GCL underscore and project name underscore MPC. This is the base class, generic class it is going to create. And another one is the extension class. Extension class also same, uh, like this, control C and control V and underscore ext, right? And also it creates second, is the, it it creates, okay, the 2 data provider classes. Two data provider classes, guys. See, so what are all the two data provider classes? Simple. You take this, Control C and Control V. So instead of MPC, it's in a DPC, guys. So data provider class. So it's in a the shortcut is the DPC. Okay. So one is the DPC base class, another one is the DPC extension class. How many objects now? Four. Yes. Now four. And the third one is, and it creates a model name. It creates one model name. Okay, model name will be like this. So see, in the last it will be the model. So that means project name underscore MDL. So one model name, and fourth one is one service name, guys. One service. One service. It will create one service, and the service is project name. And very important, why? Because so in the theory also you should understand these things, guys. So for the end user point of view, for the external point of view, we are going to use the service, guys. We don't use anything, we use the service. If I want to give this service to the external system, always I use the service. Okay, so that's important. So how many objects it creates, guys? Now tell me. Total objects, total objects 6, guys. So this is an entry question. Okay, how many objects it will generate? It generates a 6 objects, 2 model provider classes, 2 data provider classes, and one model name and one service name, guys. That's the name. Whenever you generate it, uh, whenever you generate it. So I am going to click, guys, now okay. So now if I click on okay, it will create all these objects. Edz, edz, and okay, and transport for Odata. See, guys, now it will show all the log. See, one model provider class is generated, one extension class is generated, one DPC class is generated, one DPC extension class is generated, one model is generated, one service is generated, guys. And also, so this is the thing. And if you want to see, and if you want to see these objects, you need to go to the runtime artifacts, guys. So these are all the runtime artifacts, and you can see all these objects over here, guys. So nothing, no need to write much code. It's very easy to implement OData services, guys. But you need to understand the framework. The framework is important over here. And maybe I will go to the first MPC. What exactly the MPC? So what model provider class? It provides all the technical attributes for the fields, and also it provides all the required attributes for the metadata of the application. So it provides, guys, it defines, not it provides. Control Z, uh, it defines, all the technical attributes, and as well as all the metadata attributes. Metadata attributes means, can you create it, can you update it, can you sort it, can you null it? So I have selected that attributes. that section it is going to give in the metadata of your application, guys. That's a name model provider class. And maybe I will go and look into the model provider class. And this is my class, guys. From here, if you want to go and click on, maybe if I want to go from here, I need to come back and forth. I need to go and see, guys. Instead of that, better always I open one more session and I go to the SE24 and see, guys, this is my class. So always I know my naming convention GCL underscore. My project is GEDG 6 underscore sales. See, I am getting automatically and sales project. I think OData. So OData. See, that's it. I am getting automatically MPC and display the class. And see, guys, this framework, the OData framework, if you want to see, and go to the properties first. See, guys, so this class is inherited from the standard class. So whenever you create an OData services, automatically it uses the object orientation concept. There is a framework, inbuilt framework SAP has, Gateway Foundation has. This class is inherited from the standard class. This is the standard class, push ABC model. And maybe this class also inherited from the this standard class. And last one, guys, final class is this. So this is the ABC. Maybe I may have the interface. See, this is the interface which is used. So total object orientation it is using. So this is the interface. From this interface, so this class is, I think, abstracted. This is the abstract class. See, guys, we also implemented. First we have the interface. We have the interface, and after that we have implemented an abstract class. This is the abstract class, and this abstract class is inherited to the so, subclass child class, and this child class inherited into our custom class, guys. So this is the object orientation. So maybe they may ask you where you have used the object orientation. I have used in the OData services, guys. So if you OData object orientation is very important. So I told you, right? So object orientation is heavily used in the OData services. This is the base class of ours. And when you go to the methods and you can see the methods, and these are all the methods which are there in the MPC class, guys. And in that method, the first one is the define is very important, guys. So go to the define and define get header and see, guys. So it is implemented the entity, the properties. What are the properties we have implemented? So one is the VBELN and above field name is the reference is the VBELN underscore VA. And is it a key? Yes, it is setting. It is in a key field. See, the code is generated for you. You didn't write any code. SAP is generated the code for you, guys. So this is the code, and it is telling it's a property, and this property, this field is the key, and it's an idioms thing. The data type is the maximum length is the 10. Whatever you defined, just you did in a navigation graphical, but SAP is generating a code for you. And also, is it creatable? Yes, true, above true, X. And is it updatable? No, you cannot update the primary key. Everything is generated for you, guys. So the MPC provides all your key attributes and also metadata for your application. Like this, all the fields VKORG, VTWG, it is generating in a one object. It is generating in a one object. This is in a metadata. It provides in a metadata, guys. It provides in a metadata. Now that is in a model provider class, and also we have the types also abap data types. Even one structure will be created. See, TS get header automatically it defines the internal table for you. See, this is my table. So what all the fields we have that is generated over here, guys. One structure and one table type for you. See, TT is in a table type. It's in a structure, guys. And we have already SAP framework designed with the your required things. Automatically it generates, guys. So now the next thing is the DPC data provider class. So go to the DPC and this is my DPC and go to the here DPC. Okay, from there also we can go, but I need to come back. That's why I'm not going from here. See, double click on this, it will go to the class. Suppose when I want to come back again, I need to come back. So back and forth things we need to do. That's why. So better always when you do the OData services. So if you want the class, go to that particular class. Okay. So here you can see, guys. So what is the DPC is? So here it is going to provide DPC provide. So the required data. So the required data. So what way we can get the data? So there are different methods. The HTTP methods. We have CRUD operations: create, read, and delete, and update. So for every operation there are different methods, guys. Now you can see. So create entity set, delete entity set, get entities, the CRUD operations it is giving, get entity set, update entity set. So for every operation, so there is a method. See, if you want to see, you can see the methods. So if you want to post the data, you need to use the create entity, and if you want to delete the data, you need to use the delete entity. If you want to get the data, you need to use the get entity, guys. So maybe there are two things here we can use: the DPC class, data provider class. Very interesting, guys. So OData is very interesting, and not now. So when you see from the external system, you will feel what exactly, what's the interesting stuff you are going to see. Data provider class, and provides it provides required attributes for the service document, and it it will have all the crude methods crude methods for the entity sets guys. That's the name, data provider class, guys. And so now, guys, suppose if I so I have a service, and now I am not writing any code. Guys. Now I would like to test this OData services, guys. Okay. So if you want to test this OData services, so you need to maintain this service, guys, first. So first of all, if you want to if we want to test or call OData service from external system, first we have to maintain it. Okay. Maintain the service, guys. We have to maintain the service. So how to maintain the transaction code to maintain OData services slash IWFND. Little difficult, guys. These transactions are slash IWFND slash MAINT underscore service. This is the transaction code. One more important, very important, very important. Okay, Fury we use heavily this transaction. If you want to build a Fury application, we use this transaction heavily, guys. Slash IWFND slash maint underscore service. Okay, so maybe I am going to maintain it, and maybe from here also I can maintain it, guys. See, so I can maintain it. So here you can see there is a click on this local and go and maintain, guys. Even this also navigates to the same transaction. From here also I can do it, but the separate transaction is a service is not. So first register the service. First you will have to register it, then maintain it. Sorry. First step is register the service, then maintain the service. Second is the uh, maintain the service. Okay, first register it and then maintain it. So register it. So system alias. Okay. So system alias, always you need to use local, guys. So why I need to use local here is, so it tells whether it is an embedded scenario or whether it is an a local, the central hub scenario. Here there are two types. So I can have my OData services in different server. I can have my OData service in the same server. So if it is in the same server, you need to use local. If it is in an embedded, then you need to define here RFC destination. Whatever the RFC destination we have, that we need to maintain. Since it is an embedded scenario, you need to maintain the local. So the importance of the local is, local means at it provides, normally the functionalities, it provides the communication between SAP to gateway server. Normal the functionality is the communication. Okay. Uh, what is the system alias actually? The purpose of the not local, guys, system alias. System alias purpose. So if it is in a local means it's an embedded scenario, because your gateway is installed on top of your ABAP layer. That's why it's in a local. But if it is in a, if you want to provide another system, you need to provide the RFC destination for SAP backend server, SAP backend server. It's in a central hub scenario. It's in a central hub scenario, guys. So system alias means it provides the communication between the gateway system to the SAP system. And so the value local means, so your gateway foundation is installed on top of your same server. So that's why I put in a local, it's an embedded scenario. And the second one is the, if it is in a central hub scenario, you need to define the RFC destination for your backend server, guys. That's the uh, importance of this. And this is also one of the important step. And I need to provide a local. And see, guys, whenever you define it, and you need to provide in a package gedg is my package. And see the service name, see OData uses the service name, guys, for the integration purpose. So whenever you generate the OData services, there are 6 objects: 2 model provider class, 2 data provider class, 1 model name, and 1 service name. So the service name, OData uses the service name for the integration, external integration purpose. And okay, and save that, and save it, and save it. It is saving all the way, guys. And select it and maintain it, and you will now redirect to the selected system. Yes, first you need to register it and you need to save it, guys. See, guys, so your OData service is generated. See green color. So whenever you generate an OData, whenever you maintain a OData service, and a node will be created in the SICF transaction. So SICF is the ICF, Internet Communication Framework, guys. ICF means, so I can access this service from the internet. Okay. Whenever you maintain the OData service, and also when we maintain the OData service, it creates a node in SICF transaction. So what exactly the SICF? Okay, SAP, hmm? Internet, very important, guys. Internet Communication Framework. So all HTTP requests, if you want to integrate your SAP system to the browsers, definitely that has to be done via the SICF. So internet, this framework is not available with our lab server, guys. SICF is not enabled. So that's why I'm not able to do the OData server. You can do it, but you cannot test it. But if you have an SICF, and definitely you can use the OData services. And maybe I will go to the SICF transaction. This is my transaction, and click on and go to the default host, and this is the navigation SAP, and SAP OPU. I think there is an OPU. Is there any OPU? Yeah. So this is the OData for the SAP products, guys. So the navigation in the SICF is, so one is the default host, okay, slash default host slash SAP slash OPU, and see guys, and come back and see this is the link, the URL formation, how the URL you will generate, right? So this is the way we are going to generate the URL, guys. And you can see the OData. In this OData, our service name will be available. If you go and see uh, OData, again SAP, and here you can see all the OData services which are available in the system, and these are all the service names, and maybe ours is Z. It starts with the Z 1240. Okay, so Z will be in the last. So you see Z EDG, yeah, you can see demo EDG ABCDE. Okay, yeah, you can see EDG 6 sale. See guys, service is used for the external communication framework, and double click and see guys. So this is my URL formation, guys, not the this, and take this, and here control V, and after this you have a service. After this you have a service, guys. This is the service document. So whenever you use this, and so this is the URL formation, maybe like this, the URL formation will be like this, guys. URI, guys, it's not a URL. So you, what is uniform, yeah, so what's better, uniform resource identifier. Okay, so how it will form is https, okay, slash slash, here the link is the host, okay, host dot port, okay, it uses the port as well, um, slash, and this case, this is the URL formation for the OData service. Simple logic. See here, https, okay, you know this, and here the URL, service URL, the host name of your SAP server, and then later it uses the SICF path, guys. It uses the SICF path. See, this is my SICF path. Default host SAP OPU OData SAP EDG 6 sales underscore OData service underscore this. So you should able to prepare the URI. So now it is easy, right? But how do you know host name and port, right? Maybe we'll see. I'm going to test this. From here you are going to get the URL. See guys, I'm going to test here, and test OData test service. Test hello. See guys, it is opening in the browser. See here, sts4c.st.com 8001 is my post. So take this, control C, and so maybe I will put control A, control C. And if I test this, see, SAP generated a URL for you, and HTTP, uh, not TS, it's not a secured, secured is not enabled in my server, and HTTP, the host is the sts4c.st.com, and port is the 8001, and the default host, maybe this is not required. Okay, SAP and OPU, OData, SAP, and my service and client, and this is my first in parameters. This is my user parameters. First parameter is the question mark SAP client equal to the 100. First parameter always it uses the question mark. Always SAP use for the, so the some tricks about the links URLs, guys. So always, so control Z. These things are very important, guys. Simple things, but it matters for the implementation. So maybe we'll see later that part. in the parameters part I will show it later. But what is the problem? See guys, I'm not able to execute. I'm getting an error. This site is not reached. So what is the problem? If you get this error, what you need to do? This site cannot be reached. And if you get this errors also we are going to look it out, guys. So solving the errors. Maybe everybody will get this error. I know that. So how to resolve the errors? How to resolve the errors in OData, guys, because it's very important. The first error is that the site cannot be reached. The site cannot be reached. That means we need to maintain the host file, guys, in the drivers. So you should maintain a host file. Otherwise, your HTTP request doesn't work, guys. So how to maintain the host file in the drivers? So go to the my computer. Okay, so maybe I can put my computer. Next is the go to the operator. Hello, hello. Yeah. So go to the my computer. Go to the local disk. Okay, uh, that means operating system where your operating system is installed. Okay, always most of the times it will be in the C and Windows. Go to the Windows and System 32. System 32 in Office also very important, guys. System 32 and etc. Where is the etc? System 32 drivers, guys. Drivers and etc. Okay, this is the host files, guys. My computer and see everybody has to maintain this. Okay, Windows System 32 and drivers, drivers etc. That's it, and hosts. Okay, and guys, this host file is not a this file, guys. It's not a notepad. Okay, you should not have a .txt extension. If it is in a .txt extension, it doesn't work. Okay, if you want to maintain this, my best idea is, so what I am going to do is I am going to install a notepad plus plus. Notepad plus plus. I am going to install this. Download notepad plus plus. It doesn't change your notepad file extension. Without extension changing, we can work with this notepad. This is the highest release, I think, right? 7.8 and download mine is 64 bit installer. What I need to do here? Download notepad. You can do this. Download source. No, out installer. Install, we can do the install is directly. Yeah, it is downloading. So even my system is also fresh, guys. That's why I need to have, before my system I already maintained. So I reinstalled my system. I have upgraded my system. So even it is asking and show it in folder, and this is the one, and install it. Okay, next. I agree. Notepad. Next. Okay, next. Finish. Okay, that's it. And open. File open. Open and desktop. Computer. See. Drivers. Windows system 32 and drivers. This is the host file. Okay. So here I need to maintain my host file, guys. So my IP address is. So what is the IP address of my server? Okay. IP address of this server is system status. Here you can see the IP. No. IP address of my computer. It's not my computer. I don't want my computer address. Huh? I want my. Already we have, right. Sorry, we have already IP address here. Change. So this is the IP address. Control C. This is my IP address, and the server is. This is the server. That's it. Control C and Control V. Okay, maybe. Oh, I don't want HTTP in front. Okay, so how can I edit? Tell here I will type it. So STS4C, STS4C, 4C dot st dot com. Okay, and port is 800. 800. Okay, that's it. Okay, save. Okay, so close this and again open. Okay, open edit with the notepad plus. See, my server is there, guys. Maybe I will rerun this now and enter. Yeah, no. So what happened? So maybe I'm going to come here and again test service. Yeah, perfect. Control C. Internet Explorer. Perfect. Yeah, I need to open in the Internet Explorer. It doesn't work in my Chrome, guys. Actually, so they didn't enable on the their enter. It should ask for the user ID and password, guys. Double time, Control V, enter. Yeah, no, it's not connecting. HTTP is correct. Look for the page sts4c.st.com. Actually, it should work, guys. I'm not sure why it's not happening. Maybe I have another test. Maybe from here also I can do the test, guys. So if you want to test your OData service, and I have one more option is the SAP Gateway Client. We can use that. And so first I'm going to do an SAP Gateway Client. I can do it from the Postman, guys. Wait, see. So here you can see the how to test the OData services. So test how to test OData service from SAP itself. Okay, the transaction code is the /IWFND underscore GW underscore CLIENT. This is the transaction code, guys. So I came from the navigation, but the direct transaction you can see. This is the SAP Gateway Client, and now you can see, guys, get. See, and I have a get, and here the format. I'll leave about the format. So first question mark is, so whenever you want to get the data, so how do you get the data, guys? How do you get the data? So which object will give the CRUD operations? Which object will give the CRUD operations? Entity set is the object, right? So with entity set only you can create the data, you can read the data, you can update the data, you can delete the data. So in this, after the service document, and here there is an option called entity sets. So click on the entity set, and you see guys, there is a get entity set guys, and I am performing a get method, and click on execute, and I get an error guys, 501. And what is the error? What is the error? So method get entity set not implemented in the data provider class guys. So you need to implement this method if you want to get the data. To show this, I executed the OData service without the implementation. So if you get this kind of error, so you need to implement the method. So the error code is the final one, very important guys. So whenever you test, so error codes, this is also interview questions. 501, when you will receive a 501 code. So 501, this is the error code for the get entity set guys. So what are the error codes you have? So 501 is the error code when you are getting the data from SAP. So when you get the 501, so that means it's a get entity set error code. So that means you need to implement this get entity set guys. Maybe I will go to the get entity set. Where is the get entity set? Get entity set. See, get header, get entity set. Okay, there is an entity and entity set. Entity for the single record read guys, and entity set for the multiple record read. Okay, entity is used method, get, you understand right? Only if you see entity, that means it is to read single record. These are all the questions only guys. Okay, get entity set means, okay, is used to read multiple records. Okay, so I'm going to implement get entity set guys. So get entity set and change. And guys, so one more thing is, whenever, actually we should not implement the code in the DPC guys. Maybe I will implement, then I will show what will happen. So I'm implementing the code in the DPC. Maybe that's a better idea. So what I am going to do is, I'm going to comment this code. I don't want this code. Maybe here guys, whenever, so for every method, there will be interfacing parameter. So what is the entity name, entity set name, source name? There are different filter options, paging, pagination concept, and key tab, internal table key tab, and these are all the things which are coming up. And the output is et underscore entity set guys. This is the output of this method. So if I want to send the data to the external system, I need to fill this internal table guys. So the object orientation is important here. What's the values coming here? So in OData, always important, you need to use what is the importing parameters and what are the exporting parameters. So I will use all these interfacing parameters. But now what I need to send some record to the external system. So maybe, so I'm going to do like this case. So select star, not star, what are the fields we have? VBELN and VKORG, mm, uh, AUA, RT. Order also important guys. AUA, RT, VKORG, and VTWEZ, and SPA, RT from VBAC table and into table. Directly I can give the entity set guys. ET underscore entity set. ET underscore entity set. That's it. And save. And I'm not giving any where condition. I'm fetching all the records and activate. So I'm going to activate this. So I have implemented this method now. See, this method is implemented guys. So this method is implemented, and maybe I'm going to execute again. So this is my where is it get? Is it get? Yes, and execute. Yes guys, 200. It's a success code for the get record guys. Error codes are important. So one more is the 200. it's a success for get request. So error code 200 for the success for the get request, and you got the success. And guys, this is an XML format, guys. See XML tags. If you see the tags, all are XML and S, XML and S. It's an XML format. I don't like the XML format. And if you want to extend, so with the JSON format, and my first input parameter, I always use the question mark. Okay, and we have the filters, keywords, format equal to the JSON format. That's it. Formatting. First one always you need to use the question mark. First input parameters. And format is my keyword. What format it is, whether it is an XML or JSON. I'm going to use the JSON format. Sorry. Set. First one is question mark. And take out the question mark and format equal to JSON and execute. Sorry. You need to use question mark and a dollar. In front keyword you need to use the dollar format, guys. So execute. Now you can see the JavaScript object notation format, guys. So the first record is this. See, the first record is this, guys. So always JavaScript object notation format starts with the curly brace first. Okay, then here you have the structure, and every structure is with a curly brace, ended with the curly brace, and this is one group of set, but it's an array, guys. So here I have selected multiple records. Always the multiple records is in the array. So like this, guys, first it starts like this. This is one set actually. In this set, okay, I have an a d, and which is the these result actually. So everything, every object will be like this, like this. It will be in the double quotes. Okay, since it is an array, it starts with the array. Array is the, this symbol is array. So in this, so I have one record. My one record is always open with a curly brace. Okay, one record is now this case. This is my one record. One record. See, every field with the double quotes and separated by colon, and the value also will be in the double quotes, and every field will be separated with the comma. In the last field there is no comma, you see. And suppose if you have one more record and comma comes into here, guys. If there is no record, there is no comma. So this is the concept you need to understand. Okay, simple only. And I am going to put one comma and control V, and see I have one more record. So like this, if you have a multiple records, the multiple records will be in the array, square brackets, the curly braces, you are going to have the actual record values, guys. This is a JavaScript object notation. Maybe it's based on practice, you are going to see this data, guys. So this data is comes, and this is the get request. What are the sales orders we have in the system? All the sales orders read into your service, guys. So this is the testing your OData service. There are a lot of get request we have. So tomorrow we are going to see all the get request, how you are going to implement the get request in the tomorrow's class. This is the reading of the multiple records by using entity set method. How can you read the single record? How can you apply the filters? How can you calculate how many number of records you fetched? And how can you select the records based on the some field values, VBLN equal to this, then only fetch the data. So like that, there are a lot of operations we can do. The get request operations. Tomorrow we are going to see the get request operations. And also this is the testing your service from the gateway client. But how do you test your service from the postman client? That also we are going to see now, guys. So I'm going to the postman service. So you need to install the postman plugin into your system. Okay, so this is my postman plugin. Postman, see here, this is my postman, so you can get it. So if you want to install, you can install postman plugin. Google postman. It's a free software, guys. You can download the postman plugin, guys. Okay, so you will get this symbol, and okay, and I'm going to create one post, get request. Actually, it's my get request. See, and also I am going to give the URL. So already I know the URL. Where is the URL here? I closed it. Okay, you can test from here also. Browser. Sorry, you can test this service and take this Control C, and that's it, and keep it in the here, guys. So this is my SAP client, and also I need to give the this thing as well, question mark. uh, uh, no, first not the question mark, slash my entity set, guys. So what is the entity set we have used? Mhm. Okay, from here I can do, and go to the gateway client. Okay, and take out this, so you can form the here itself if you are not good in the here. See, so get entity set, right? Then question mark first, dollar. Where is the dollar format equal to JSON, and one more. If you want to have a one more, and I need to use and see, I have one more parameter, and dollar, and SAP client also I need to give this, because I may have different clients as well. So maybe SAP client equal to 800. Suppose if you have two clients, which client you need to trigger this service. So that's the extension of the client. So dollar and SAP client equal to 800, guys, and dollar format equal to JSON. So take this and Control C, and now go to here. So from here, from 8001, you replace your login. See, as SAP OPU OData SAP, this get header, and question mark dollar format equal to JSON, and dollar SAP client equal to the 100, guys. This is my service, and also you need to provide the authorization, guys. So and also see, it's my inbuilt embedded. So without a name, user ID and password, I am able to test it, because you are testing from your own SAP server. But this here, you are testing from the external system, guys. But if you are testing from the external system, when you are sending a request from the external system, definitely you need to have an authentication to your server. So the authentication will be done in the authorization section, and go here, and basic authorization, and username is st ana 19 welcome 123. Okay, and now I'm going to send the request, guys. Send request, and see, the request sent to the system could not get any response. Why? uh, why it's not getting? st hana 19 password authorization I given, and it's in a get request and send. So the calls which you made, you will get here, could not get any. The server could not send a response. Ensure that the backend is working properly. Self-signed certificates. Fix this by turning certification settings general. Proxy configured incorrectly. Ensure that proxy is configured in settings proxy. Request time. Change request timeout in settings general. And maybe, so what I will do is, first I will take this Control C. Maybe from here. So previously we are able to succeed. No, right? SAP client. No. So it's not working from the external system. Mm, why it's not connecting? So maybe first what I will do is, I will take it out this, and first dollar question mark uh, dollar format equal to the JSON, right? And send. No, guys, it's not working from the external system. We'll see tomorrow. Maybe I will try to fix this, or else I need to connect with the SAP server, guys. So why it's not connecting? So from external system also we will see how exactly we are going to test this case. Okay. So that's all about the background of the OData services, and we'll see that tomorrow a lot of things how we are going to see the remaining concepts. It's a basic thing in the OData. Okay, it's a basic thing, and if you want to practice this case, you need to practice on daily basis. Okay, for today I am giving the access for you, but from tomorrow, Anna, welcome 123 the password. So please use this for the practice. Otherwise, if you want to take the server, it takes some time, you will forget everything. And use this and work together combinedly, because you can open only single user. You cannot uh, uh, you cannot parallelly connect multiple users. So this is the global password for all. And so if you want to practice more practice, please you have to take the server access case. Okay, just 500 rupees. Share, uh, take minimum. I want 2 users, then only they will give for the 2000. Okay, so my user is already there. More 2 users, they will give for the 2000. Okay, if it is only one user, they will ask 2500. Okay, this is the thing which they are asking. Okay, and so plan yourself and take the user IDs. Until then, use my user ID, but don't block it, please. Okay, so that's because it's not in my hand to reset my password. Okay, the password is welcome 123. It's plain, nothing, anything. Welcome 123. Please don't do any logs. That's the only my request. Okay, and also don't try to change the passwords. Okay, it's an S4 HANA system, brand new system. 1709 is the release. Okay, that's it for today. Thank you. See you tomorrow. Bye bye.